Hello, I'm Ashish Joshi. I'm a Sky News correspondent, but today I'm taking your questions on Sky News' Facebook page because I'm on the set of The Pledge with two of the panellists on today's programme. You will recognise them, of course, Michelle Dewberry and Rachel Johnson, who are preoccupied with doing something else at the moment.
I have a problem.
I'm Instagramming.
What
happened?
She's just edited me out of a picture.
Oh God!
She's just she didn't know.
I'll do it again.
She's showing me a picture going, look at this
Deliberate
picture.
sabotage. Anyway, ignore those two if you can for the time being.
I'll do it again.
Any questions you have and you want me to put to the panellists,
You're going to hate
put
me
them
now.
on our Facebook page, post them on our Facebook page. They will be sent through to us and we will be able to talk to you and tell you what's on tonight's show and what they've been discussing. Who are the panellists joining you today?
Well, you see, the excitement, real excitement,
Well,
was that
Rupert
Rupert
Murdoch picture on because if you did,
Rupert Murdoch came in and he sat where you're sitting, and so we were. I just Instagrammed a picture, but my mistake, I cut Miss Dubes out
What
of
did you
shot.
talk to
I
Rupert Murdoch
did.
about?
I just wanted to be bigger
What did you talk to him
about the referendum. I think he thinks we're going out.
Well,
Facebook Live gets that scoop.
Well, The Sun have also obviously came out, didn't they, a couple of days ago with their Believe in the UK.
So no surprises there.
No.
Let's talk about tonight's show. The referendum, a week away. What did you talk about? What was the panel's take on things? You're quite strong on this. This was your pet subject today.
Well, I just feel it's just been such a massive, unnecessary and unpleasant few weeks and even months. And Cameron, if I'd been in the driving seat and I'd won a majority, even if I'd had it in my manifesto as one of my probably election-winning manifesto commitments, I don't think I would have stuck to my guns on this.
Oh, you can't do that.
No, I think you can. A manifesto is never worth the paper it's written on.
I know, but if you put in your manifesto, and let's be honest, they tried to, as people will say, shoot the UKIP fox. That's why it was in there. He never thought he was going to get a majority. When he did, you can't suddenly backtrack, and all those people that have voted for you because you've trusted in them for the EU referendum, you can't then go, just kidding, not really going to do it.
Well, Rachel, what do you mean when you say it's too important to be decided by a referendum, it's unconstitutional as we're a representative democracy?
Okay, what it means is this. The three main parties are all largely for Remain. And let's say we have a scenario where there is a narrow vote for leave. You have a situation whereby the Prime Minister, who wants us to stay in, has to force Parliament, which is our legislature, to enact the will of the people against what the legislature, the majority of them, want. So that's going to be very, very hard. It's going to lead probably to another referendum, and then also another referendum in Scotland.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So my point is, we shouldn't have had this referendum in the first place.
How else do you get the country to decide?
We are in Europe. You could
But
get
that's the point, isn't it?
This is what you could have done. You could get
I love you, Rachel.
you could get the UKIP and you could get the Tory party to split, and then in a general election you could get the people to vote for the parties that want to leave Europe, and then the parties that want to leave Europe will be running the country, and then they can do it. That's the way to do it.
Michelle?
Yeah, I just think they didn't have a choice. Nobody was really properly listening to people that wanted to leave the EU. And I think if we would have had AV as opposed to First Past the Post, UKIP would have been a lot more prominent in the House than they currently are, and people would have felt slightly more listened to. As it is now, I completely disagree that you could have shoved that in your manifesto and then backtracked and not offered it. So he put it in his manifesto.
What else did he shove in his manifesto? We're going to reduce migration to tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands. That's gone by the board. We had 333,000.
That was ridiculous. They never should have put that cap in there, that number. That you can't do it. That's a lie.
What do your other panellists have to say about it? What do they think?
We don't know.
Were you a lone voice?
No, when Nick was saying that...
That's Nick Ferrari.
Nick Ferrari was saying that, why don't we trust the people? Well, we don't trust the people because we elect MPs who we invest our hopes and our trust and our faith in to take the right decisions for us. By the way, I'm doing much better in this Facebook Live than I did actually in the show tonight.
She's very good. She's very good.
So that's what I think. We vote people who we think are sensible to take those big decisions for us.
What did June Sarpong and Michelle Moan, what did they have to say about it?
June, on these ones? On the EU
I
one?
can't remember.
Can't
Let's do one of the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
Michelle,
tell us
Michelle
what's on the
wants
show.
to kill everyone by lethal injection.
Not me, not this
Not
Michelle.
no.
Not
Michelle
Dewberry,
Moan.
Michelle Moan.
Yeah.
She wants to kill everyone by lethal. She wants
Not everyone.
She wants
She
the
wants
reintroduction of capital
for the
punishment.
worst prisoners.
For the
she
scum
wants
of
to,
the earth.
Yeah, she wants
In
to
her words, are you quoting?
She went Travis Bickle.
I see.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Oh, you're
just
so
nod
young.
like you do.
Hands up,
yeah.
who knows who Travis Bickle is? Hands up.
There's
There's
just
one
for, just for
hand.
the people, there's one hand out of
There's
that.
one
I
hand.
am
It's over there.
always
Charlie, bring it
literally
in.
the oldest
And he's only
person,
doing it to be nice.
the
All right.
oldest person in the room.
What was her? Okay, look. First question coming in is.
I'm encouraging someone to give us a cup of tea and coffee, by the way.
Yeah.
He's nervous about doing so, but we're gasping.
This is the first question. That's what we're here for, to answer these questions.
Yes.
Wills, hi Wills,
Hi, Wills.
asks whether you think Leave is in the lead. Why you think Leave is in the lead? Do we believe
I
the
didn't think they
opinion polls?
were. How do you...
Yeah, 2 opinion polls out today, 10-point lead according
Yeah,
to
but
one.
I don't believe these polls. I think that for every poll that you can see that will put Lead ahead, you can probably find one that will put them behind. And I think the problem that you've got is so many people, until they get into that the booth on the 23rd, they are going to change their mind on, off, in,
You
out.
think it's the wavering undecideds who will swing this?
Yeah, do you know, personally I do, and I also think it's going to be turnout is going to be a massive thing. Don't forget, a lot of the
What if it's
younger
raining,
people...
like today?
Exactly, a lot of the younger people...
Oh, I
are
see,
gonna
a
wanna
massive
stay
thing,
in.
as in it's a big issue.
Do you
Yeah.
believe the polls, Rachel? Do you think? Should we
I think a more interesting question is, do I believe the bookies? Because what's happening
Where's
is
the clever money?
polls and the bookies are completely telling two different stories.
That's a good point.
And the polls are saying that Leave is ahead, and the bookies are saying is that Remain is going to win comfortably.
believe? Okay.
And for real aficionados, you should look at the German Bund, which is tracking the pound and long-term interest rates, and where will we be financially in the markets, assuming a Brexit, which will mean.
But as we were saying as well, don't forget it's Glastonbury.
Yeah.
So all of these young
And the
people.
Euros.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So you can't underestimate all of this other kind of pop culture stuff, if you like, that's going on. So you've got loads of young people are going to want to stay in. They're all loads of them are going to be in a tent in a muddy field somewhere. They're probably going to forget to vote or forget of the date.
Yeah,
You've got loads of people travelling around doing the
trying to get those
football.
guys to vote there. Look, next question. What was the most heated debate on today's show? Look, we've had Brexit, we've had capital punishment.
It was
what were the
about
other-
monogamy.
It was about
Monogamy.
Yes.
And what was the debate?
Well, you see.
Well,
there
what
are-
was it about, or what did
Well,
it become?
I think there are
What-
in
what-
the panel. I think in the panel, Michelle has got a
Michelle
boyfriend.
Moan or
I'm married.
Michelle
Michelle
Dewberry?
Moan has got a boyfriend. June is a single Pringle. Michelle Dubes is a single Pringle. I can't speak for Nick.
Yes, well, what happened? So, what the debate was supposed to be about in 2016, is the concept of monogamy and marriage still valid? It's so easy to meet new people. It's so easy to discard
Is it so easy to meet
relationships.
new people?
Yeah, I mean, whether or not they're the right people is questionable, but it's easy to meet new people, certainly for casual encounters, if that's what you like. That's what it was supposed to be about. What it actually became about was the fact that I can't seem to find a decent guy. So we went off the
Yeah.
rails a little bit, but it was quite
Millions
heated
of Facebook
nonetheless.
posts.
It turned into a live streamed, not live streamed, but pre-recorded Lonely Hearts ad for Michelle, and she is going to be absolutely bombarded with offers.
I've saved a fortune in dating site membership fees. Yes.
Why do you think, in the age of Tinder and social media, that we don't have monogamy anymore?
Well, I think that a lot of people
Speak
do
for
still have
yourself.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
well,
going to
yeah.
say, I think a lot of people do still have it, but I think that there's
You
so
mean
many
practice
people.
it?
Yeah, there's so many people now that they sit there and they think, well, before, you'd get married off in your 20s or something, you had to put up with your lot. If it wasn't working, you probably have to just suck it up. These days, there's so much access to people that, especially the younger guys, they're like, right, I'll get with you. You've got to tick all of these boxes. If you're not quite right, I can guarantee that I can go and get someone else. And so it's a lot
Is that
more like a
different, though?
discarding culture. Yeah, I think so, because I think the older people I know, they've been married for decades and decades and decades. They've really...
Certainly feels like it in my case.
Yeah, they've fought through their challenges, where I think as younger folk, we're more likely to go, you're a bit of a muppet, or you've done something wrong, next. I do. And I think technology plays a part in that.
I'm sure there'll be
The
questions being
cameraman
posted.
is nodding furiously, guys, and you can't see this, but he's with me.
You're married.
I'm married. Look, there's a ring to prove it. we'll come back to monogamy. I'm sure there'll be people out there who
guys,
wants to be asked.
tell me what you think. Tell me what
Lisa
you think
wants to
monogamy.
know, coming back to Brexit, perhaps you could answer this, Rachel, whether you think there's a chance we could stay in the EU even if the UK votes leave. That's quite technical.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
Absolutely, because according to my expert sources, a referendum
Who's
is
your
only,
expert source?
Lord Butler, who used to be
Okay.
head of the civil service, is
Not
a
somebody in
referendum
your
is only
family.
advisory.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Prime Minister would be. It's important for him to be seen to enact the result of the referendum, but it's not actually binding.
And the process will take years, right?
Well, it'll take. You've got 2 years once Article 50 has been triggered to complete your negotiations, but that depends on all the other countries playing.
But also
playing
as
fair.
well, you don't have to, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're probably more expert than this than I am, but you don't have to trigger Article 50. So on the 23rd of June, if we decide to leave, you've got a period of however long you want before you have to hit the button if you want, for want of a better word, on that Article 50. Is that right? Am I right? I think I am.
No, I think George Osborne has said that it will be triggered within 2 weeks.
But it doesn't have
yeah.
to be.
No,
That's my point.
a lot
So
of
we
this is
could
open to
negotiate for a while.
interpretation.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's another question coming in now. Thank you very much for posting this one. It's not something which was covered in tonight's show, but I'm going to put it to our panellists anyway. It's a story which is quite prominent today. It's a story I covered on Sky News. Decriminalisation of drugs. This is a recommendation made by two of the country's leading health bodies. We've had similar calls in the past. I'll tell you how this differentiates. It's the first time these two bodies have joined the call for decriminalisation.
Great idea.
And it's calling for decriminalisation of all drugs.
Great idea,
Not
yeah.
just Class C.
I
So
think
that-
it's a great idea.
I have a very simplistic view, and I'm an absolutely non-expert, but I do know that a friend of mine founded the political party, believe it or not, Sister, which is Cannabis is Safer Than Alcohol. And I've listened a lot to him, and I have an incredibly simplistic view that people can freely buy alcohol. And when you go around, certainly the parts that I'm from, on a Friday night, Saturday night, you see people brawling and in a right state. When you go wandering the streets of Amsterdam,
Yes.
where you see people taking cannabis freely, you don't have these violent, aggressive scenes. And often when I listen and I think to myself, is alcohol fueling this kind of aggressive, violent Friday, Saturday night
Of course it is.
behaviour? And would cannabis actually be chilling people out? It's
Yeah.
a very simplistic view, I know.
Well, it's a view that's been put out there before. Michelle Dewberry, the monogamist, and Rachel Johnson, the Remainer,
The legalizer.
the legalizer. Thank you both very much for your time. We've come to the end of our time here on Facebook. The programme is on
Tonight,
at
8 o'clock, Sky
on
News.
Sky News. So if you want to find out what's being said about monogamy, the EU referendum, immigration, the Orlando shooting, and the death penalty, tune in.